Come and dream with me.
Hello and welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, the Explosion Network's premier media podcast. Every week we get together to talk about movies, TV, and online content and help you answer the question, is it surprising that a film produced by the Daily Wire is having massive crew problems? No. I'm your host, Ash Shobley. Join me today, Dylan Blight.
No. I haven't seen that news, but no.
No, you haven't seen this news?
No.
Let me pull up the story. Come on. Google Chrome. Headline: If Jonathan Majors fell through a window on Daily Wire action flick, leading crew to walk off set, producers say they don't negotiate with communists. Just over a week after several crew members walked off the South Carolina set of Jonathan Majors' upcoming untitled action film from the Daily Wire and Dallas Summers' Sonia's Bonfire Legend, more details about the safety concerns that led to the strike have emerged. As we previously reported, the union called a strike against the production on March 20th over a series of labor issues. The union attempted to sign a contract with the production in order to secure payment into the union's health and pension funds. However, things got more serious as the safety concerns grew over the past 5 weeks. Deadline spoke with several crew members who have since stopped work on their production, who say that the strike had gained steam at the top of last week after Majors and co-star JC Kilcoyne accidentally tumbled out of a window while filming a scene. The incident was captured on video obtained by Deadline, which is embedded in below. Multiple sources confirmed to Deadline that the accident occurred after the window was replaced with an unsecured sheet of tempered glass to be purposely shattered in a later stunt that did not involve any actors. They also go on to list a bunch of other issues they've had. Here we go. Just the tip of the iceberg in terms of their concerns. Multiple workers corroborated incidents involving props failing onto the crew, including a rigged tree branch that hit the set medic. Several crews also confirmed there's no meetings with department heads or writer director Kyle Rankin ahead of complex stunts or the use of firearms. Also, apparently the special effects supervisor is recently pled guilty to illegal possession of explosives on a movie set, and he's prohibited from handling explosive materials because of a prior criminal conviction. What else?
Mhm.
There was also not a crew list, apparently, which is like a common thing on a crew set. So they started sending out they began circulating a black market crew list in order to identify their colleagues on the film. So yeah, sounds like a shit show.
Just looked at the video.
Yeah.
Very funny.
Apparently fell 6 feet out the window.
Yep.
Not majorly injured, but you know.
There's there's a comment here that's like, crazy how fast he rose and fell.
Yep. All right. On this week's episode of What Do You Want to Watch, we'll be talking about what's in our watch history, going over some film news, giving some thumbs to trailers, and giving you this week's top 3. All right. Big release of this week, of course, the Super Mario Galaxy movie, which has already broken a bunch of records. I believe the biggest opening for a film on a Wednesday in America. It's already made over $358 million worldwide over this first weekend. We, of course, have already done a spoiler discussion over on our new podcast, Animated Wonders, which I swear this will be the last time though. Pimp this podcast on a podcast this week, at least.
This week, right?
This week. So yeah, obviously it is the sequel to the Super Mario Brothers movie. We have Mario and Luigi, Yoshi and Peach and Bowser and all the characters you know and love. I saw another outlet say simple plot of the film is Princess Rosalina is kidnapped by Bowser Jr. and now everybody has to try to save her. Dylan, what are your thoughts on the Super Mario Galaxy movie?
Yeah, look, I didn't really like the first one, and I don't think this one's much better. I think I do slightly prefer it, although I think both are bad. This one has Yoshi in it, and Yoshi brings me a lot of joy with his scenes. And I think there's one scene of him early in the film that's probably the best scene of any of these two films, which I'm setting the bar low, but for anyone that's watched it, I guess the montage of him going through New York City, spoilers, that's the best scene of both of these films, I think. But otherwise, if you had similar complaints about the sort of lack of any interesting story or anything beyond just jokes and vibes of the first film, then that continues here. It's less There's less story, even I would say, somehow, than the first film. I mean, a lot of the complaints are the same. Chris Pratt's just a whatever Mario. But then a lot of positives from the first film aren't here. Like Jack Black's doesn't get as much chance to do Bowser stuff, which was good in the first one. Brie Larson's wasted as Rosalina. It's still very pretty, has good music, but yeah, it's just so aimed at. I don't know, actually. I really can't tell if it's just aimed at video game fans, because it sounds weird, because then I'm like, but I am that, but not the target video game fan, or if it's just targeted at really young kids, and that's why it doesn't work. But either way, yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot of the same issues that you have. I think I enjoyed my time during the movie, but once you come out, you're like, once you're on the, it's definitely, as Martin Scorsese says, like a roller coaster ride, I guess, where you have the experience, and then you're like afterwards, did I really get anything meaningful out of that? Not really. I think the addition of Yoshi is like a saving grace of this, because he's delightful to see on screen, even if they just kind of stuff him in and don't give much explanation or reason outside of he showed up here and now he's part of the crew.
Well, they teased him at the end of the last one, so they had to put him in it, and then they're like, "But
how do we do this without?"
They didn't make him the focus.
With no intention.
The Easter egg reveal of him at the end of the first one almost was like, "Oh, Yoshi will be the main focus of the second film," but they're just like, he's here anyway. Something else now.
Yeah. Yeah, it just kind of feels like a movie that has been reverse engineered to fit all the set pieces that they want to put together into. And the set pieces, they're pretty cool. There's a lot of fun references to video games. If what you want from your video game adaptations is just images from the games brought to another medium, this is the movie for you, because that's pretty much all this is. It just brings almost all these scenes are from the different video games, and there's lots of references and Easter eggs and that kind of stuff. But if you're wanting any meaningful plot or character development or character growth or just character in general, this isn't the one. The first one definitely had way more character or character growth, I guess. Character arcs, crazy. There's some reveals. Like, I guess there's one big reveal that's not like been confirmed in the canon of the video games, but outside of that, there's like very little to this movie outside of what they're literally just showing you. Which I guess, if you look back at Illumination, outside of the first Despicable Me, well, I guess some of the Minions movies had plot, but it's definitely not the thing they're most interested in. A lot of their films just tend to be getting to set piece to set piece to set piece. So outside the ones, no. Did Mike White work on? He did trying to remember if Mike, that Mike White one
Despicable
was
Me 3 or something.
Yeah, that's right. So we did Migration, which was one that actually had stories. Yeah. I think probably even more interesting. How have you felt about the reaction to this movie? Because there is there's a whole bunch of different things to discuss about that. The reaction of fans and the incredibly, I would say, vitriolic defense of the lack of story.
Yeah, I don't know. It's nothing new or different. It's just this whole thing of whenever the internet, there's a large enough collective that gets on they feel the need to protect something, a movie, from criticism for some reason. But then it becomes this whole, a million memes and comments about how critics are wrong, blah, blah, blah. And like, I've seen someone already like somehow actually get quite good high quality video of the Yoshi scene and like post that and be like, this whole scene's better than most movies released this year. Critics are wrong or whatever, just trying to, it's weird. But
yeah, a bunch of people are pirating the film so they can defend it.
Yeah. It's like, critics know nothing. If you don't like the movie, you don't like fun, blah, blah, blah. It's just all the typical sort of stuff you see. But then the same people will do like the opposite if they really hate a movie and just like, they'll do a hate. The same people that protecting this are the same people that then jump on like hate bandwagons of the films and stuff for numerous reasons. So it's just, whatever.
I feel like not enough people understand that, critics are watching movies in probably a different way than the average moviegoer is going.
Yeah, it's the same as like because I've, you get it in I don't know if you get it if you ever talk to normal people, because even like I remember parents watch the first Mario, or I had some other people at work watch the first Mario movie. It was like, oh, it's just a bit of fun, like blah blah blah, it's the whole thing. But then it's that whole thing of they probably watch a couple new movies a year. They probably watch a couple, like the Marvel. A lot of these people, so they watch the 1-2 Marvel movies, and then maybe they watch this. Like they watch a couple movies, and that's the whole like, oh, you can't enjoy fun, like it's just supposed to be mindless, all that stuff. And then you just got to realize that a lot of people, and it's like the same as I put ourselves in the same basket. We watch a million different things a year, like just everything has the same standards. It's just there's no, well, yeah, and this is all the that one review I think I mentioned on whatever the spoiler cut, the animated wonders episode. That one guy getting shit on because he like completely crapped on the movie or whatever critic that was. It's just the element of like, well, yeah, he's just a movie critic. He's not sitting there going, man, let me really look up to make sure I understand all these video game references or whatever,
Yeah.
and I'll score it based on what I think, how I think the people who will get the references will like the movie for.
I do admit I disagree with some of the critic, like the harshest critics who have called it like compared it to AR slop and like claim it's torture to watch this film and that kind of stuff. I think
I mean, I disagree with that too, but
there is a degree of pretentiousness around that. But
yeah, but my thing for those ones
fair criticism.
I don't think it's that bad. However, I think they're totally allowed to say that.
But then people are also allowed to say that's a load of crock of shit as well. But I guess you can't say it's a crock of shit that they feel that way, but they can say that is not how other people feel about the film.
So how you feel about the film, and move on.
Yeah, it's very weird how people feel like they need everybody to agree that they like the thing that they like. It's just a weird human thing, If everybody doesn't love the thing that I love, they're wrong.
Yeah, it usually happens. It usually happens for pop culture things because you have embedded fan bases that feel the need to protect the source material, be that because it's an adaptation of a video game or a book or comic book or anime. I don't know, whatever. Like when it's always like there's a group of people who feel the need to defend it because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think of the fence that it's just a kids movie? Is that irking you as much as it's irking me this week?
Yeah,
I feel like it's a super lazy defense considering the quality of kids movies we've gotten recently.
Yeah, I think that it's a lazy, nothing bold of a defense because the second you compare it, like if you put Toy Story as the weight on this balancing board to constantly compare other animated films to, and then you can use any of the Toy Story films as, hey, they're just a kids film, but that's like the quality that most people should be aiming for in terms of being able to deliver a kids film while still doing great, ticking all the boxes of fantastic storytelling and character work and animation and all these things. And there's lots of other fantastic animated films as well, of course, but Toy Story is sort of just the be all golden star of animation to a degree. Yeah, so I think anytime, and this happens quite a lot for animated films. Usually, it comes out, oh, it's just a kids film. It's just it's no different than it's just a kids film. It's just mindless fun. Just take your brain out and enjoy it. Like all these nothing defenses that you can get.
Yeah, I think
it happens. Like action movies do it too. It's like when there's a really bad action movie, they're like, man, that was terrible, or like shit, and then people give you the
it made no sense, or
or you like take your brain out and enjoy it. But then I'm like, no, because then I would be like, you put John Wick up there, or or fucking The Matrix, or I don't know, The Raid. I know all these big action movies that I love. I'm like, no, take your brain out and enjoy it. If it's a shit action movie, it's a shit action movie. If it's a shit family film, it's a shit family film. Like,
Absolutely. I feel like also the idea that the Super Mario Galaxy movie is just a kids film is ridiculous to me, seeing as this is a property that's been around for 40 years. So many very
Adults
grown
will, too.
adults are really
Yeah.
excited to watch this movie. So, and with all the references in this movie, only people who have been playing it for 40 years will get all of them. So the movie is actually being made for adults as well. So I don't know what all you people are smoking.
You know what actually is a kids movie though? It's those like
It's Paw
straight to
Patrol.
DVD. Yeah, the Paw Patrol movie or those straight to DVD Tinkerbell movies or shit like that. They're the ones that are actually kids movies. Everything else that we're talking about, like most of these animated films, they're family films. They're meant to be just all audiences, adults and kids can enjoy them, and they're just animated films for all ages meant to be able to enjoy them. Yeah. So there are such things as kids films. However, this is not it.
No, yeah. I feel like just being a bit too lenient. I guess my last question would be, is it wrong that they made this film that was so, Easter egg heavy? Is that a bad way to go about it, making a movie?
Yes. I hate
but it is like clearly they're satisfying a certain segment of the audience. So is it wrong?
Yes. Well, I mean, no, technically they do whatever they want, but I don't like, I just don't like anything that becomes this big Easter egg nostalgia baiting hunting thing. But lots of things are leaning into it, and I do think it comes down to the short brain wave TikTok flicking real audience that most people are now, because it's like you got to give them every 30 seconds, every 2 minutes, you got to have a ooh moment, something like that. I think it sort of comes from that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so go check out Animated Wonders for our spoiler-filled discussion about what little plot there is in that movie. Our favorite bits. We did enjoy certain segments of the film. All right, one of the big TV releases of this week, Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord, just dropped the first 2 episodes of this new animated series over on Disney Plus, mostly following Darth Maul post the events of the Clone Wars during that kind of Empire era, I guess, between Clone Wars and Episode 4, or Revenge of the Sith in Episode 4. Dylan, you're obviously the more knowledgeable one of us in this era of Star Wars. What did you think of the first couple episodes of Maul Shadow Lord?
Yeah, it's really good. I think the animation is really, really good, and I think the story, as far as pacing and stuff goes, compared to the last anime series they've done, obviously, like the Bad Batch, we're moving at a pace here. We're not here to fuck around. We're jumping right through it, and I think there's also an element of, hey, if Maul's sort of the main character, will he be as interesting, or I don't know, will he lose that element of, because whenever he shows up during the show, usually it's like you get to see him kick some ass or something, because you get to see him less, whereas this show's not, he's just going to be kicking ass all the time, and that's the pace we're running at for this one. So far I'm like, no, they're not fucking around with this, and I'm enjoying it, and there's a bunch of new characters that are quite interesting that I'm keen to find more about. And yeah, then there's also this like police officer played by Wagner Moura, who he's quite interesting as well, because he's just trying to be a good cop who seems to know that the Empire is actually shit, doesn't want them involved in his business, wants to solve things his own. So yeah, good.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I don't know if I agree on the pacing. I think it is feeling like a little bit of a slow burn so far. Only 2 episodes in, so I mean it's hard to say. But yeah, I feel like I'm missing more information, and that's probably because I haven't watched the Clone Wars extensively. And that's obviously going to fill in a lot of the backstory. Why's he got 2 legs? Didn't he have a bunch of spider legs at some point? And how does this fit in with his appearance in Solo? I mean, the timeline of Maul is like so interesting, because there's so many like distinct points that have already been established through his canon.
Solo's after this, like years later.
Yeah. So, and then eventually he'll appear
So
again
eventually,
in Rebels.
yeah. So, but after this, his next appearance is Solo. And then after that, his next appearance is his death in Rebels.
So it's also interesting because obviously the series is his honor revenge mission against a bunch of different crime syndicates who have wronged him. But he brings up a bunch of syndicates that we also know still exist. So is he actually going to take them down, or is he just going to chop off the head and he's going to do a Trump and just do slightly different regime change?
Well, you should sort of know,
Figurative regime
because
change.
how does he appear in Solo?
I mean, yeah.
He appears as the head of pretty much all the crime syndicates.
Well, one crime syndicate. We'll wait and see. But yeah. Maul, Shadow Lord, we'll be talking about it over on Holocron Entries, our Star Wars podcast. The only other podcast I'm plugging this week. So go check out so far. All right, check that out. We'll be doing weekly after shows of that. So you can probably already listen to a more deep dive podcast in the first 2 episodes of Maul, Shadow Lord. All right, I checked out the new movie that came to Disney Plus this week, Pizza Movie, which stars Gaten Matarazzo and what is the other kid's name? Jabroni? Brone. Interesting because obviously Gaten's from Strange Things and the other kid's from the Goldbergs. It's like 2 kid actors who are now leading this movie. And a whole bunch of other kid actors show up. I think Peyton Elizabeth Lee is from the short-lived Doogie Howser spin-off, or Kamala Howser, or whatever it was called on Disney Plus. She was the lead on that show. And then there's Caleb Heron, who's one of the kids from Blackish. They're in the film as well. But yeah, Gaten and Sean play Jack and Montgomery. Jack is they're college roommates, but it feels weirdly this feels like a high school movie. They're kind of outsiders in college. Jack is an outsider because he screwed something up with this college football team. It's a bit of a spoiler reveal because it's a wild thing that he did. But Montgomery is kind of an outsider, one, because he's stuck with Jack as his friend, but also is kind of socially odd. He has a pet butterfly in his room that he...
How's that work? Don't they die in a day?
I don't know. But yes, he has a pet butterfly that he's very fond of. After they get hazed by Caleb Heron's character, which is observed by their former friend, Lizzie, played by Lulu Wilson, who people would probably know from the Becky films. They come across a tin of MINTS, or mints, I guess, which turn out to be experimental drugs, which they take before hearing the full instructions of what actually happens when they take the drugs, which is if you don't have it with pizza, you go through 6 extreme phases of the drug, which ends with your worst nightmare coming to life and sticking a chainsaw up your ass, which hell of a side effect. So now they have to obtain a pizza. Unfortunately, the RAs, I think they're called, in the dorm that they're staying in are deciding to do it like a big raid and stopping anybody from kind of going outside of the dorm. So they have to work their way through the dorm as they're high on these drugs and obtain a pizza in order to survive. A pizza delivered by a robot who is crucial to the story as well. I had a good time. It's a lot. It's enjoyable though. I think it is this weird. It's definitely got a fun vibe that I can go with. It's does some insane like visual things, really creative, lots of dumb, silly jokes and that kind of stuff. It's not like super. I wasn't ever super surprised by where the plot was going, but how they get to the plot points that you kind of expect is interesting. Everybody is quite fun. The relationship between the 2 friends is really enjoyable to watch. Yeah, it's a good time. I don't think it's like a 10 out of 10, but I think it's definitely a fun Friday night film, probably enjoyed, with the pizza. So If that sounds like something you want to watch, go check out Pizza Movie, available on Disney Plus. All right, Dylan, you've watched the latest season of Laugh Out Loud UK. What did you think of the comedians duking it out this season?
Yeah, it's very good again. I very much enjoyed the first season, and this one is just as fun, I think. For people who don't know what the pitch is, I guess it is that a bunch of comedians are put in a room for, I think it's like 8 hours that they're there, and then it's literally just try not to laugh, and they're trying to make each other laugh. And then if you laugh, you get a yellow card, and then you get a red card, and then you're out, and then you have to go sit in the room with Jimmy Carr and watch everyone else watching the people try not to laugh. This season had a bunch of I'm trying to find who's the cast before I forget someone's name. Yeah, surely someone just has it. Fuck off, ad. David Mitchell, Diane Morgan, Ramesh Ranganathan, Amy Glenhill, Macy Adam, Mel Giedrick, Alan Carr, Gamosala Akumlia? I don't know. Akumlia? Sam Campbell and Bob Mortimer. So a couple of these people I didn't know who they were. There's because obviously the UK comedians, most of them knew. Most of them I knew. Some big names this season would be like David Mitchell, Ramesh, Alan Carr, obviously. And then returning Bob Mortimer, who was the champion from the first season. So he's back to try to keep his crown. The funniest thing to me is, like, slight spoilers for anyone who really cares. The funniest thing is they bring in Alan Carr, and then I'm thinking, well, this dude's going to last all of 3 seconds. For anyone who's ever watched Alan Carr on anything, he's just laughing constantly. Somehow isn't the first person out, which I found quite shocking, to be honest. But there's a lot there. I feel like nearly this season they put in too many, like, just people who are very good at playing it dead straight. It was there's a few, they struggled to get someone to laugh towards the end. So like David Mitchell's just a very like deadpan dude. Obviously, if anyone's like watched, Peep Show or 9 out of 10 Cats or any of those shows he's on. Diane Morgan is most known as her character Philomena Kunk on those like Kunk on Earth and Kunk on Life and all that stuff. And she's just used to playing that straight. So she's also in it for a while. And then Ramesh is very good at just playing it straight. And then Bob Mortimer also obviously having already won last season. And then Sam Campbell, who's actually Australian, but he's most known for all his work in the UK and a lot of those shows. He is just constantly, whenever they show his face, you're like, this guy has I don't know if he has a soul inside him or if he finds anything funny.
Does he have a funny bone?
Yeah, does he find anything funny? It's still very funny. They do it's a combination of, obviously they trying to make each other laugh, general chit chat, just shooting shit as comedians. But then sometimes Jimmy makes them do like head-to-head challenges and stuff, and then they get called on to play their Joker, which is everyone has to sit on the couch and watch them do a little performance on the stage that they have no choice but to watch, where they're trying to make each other laugh. There's a lot of funny moments for that. David Mitchell, slight spoilers again. David Mitchell somehow gets to do it twice. He does his Joker once, and then he gets called for it again, and everyone's like, what the fuck is he going to do now? And then the second time is just him, and I found it very funny because although he's most known for doing comedy and everything, he's never done stand-up in his life, and he just does the most awkward like rip on, hey, I'm just going to try stand-up in front of you as you my friends. Let me just try out material, and he just plays into all the stereotypes of stand-up stuff. Like he's reading off a piece of paper where it's like, oh, crowd work, do some crowd work. Oh, observational comedy. What's it about? A sister dying, guys. Like stuff like that. So it's very funny. Yeah, would recommend it. It's a good time, much like the first season.
So yeah, part of me is like, I feel like, how do you fill 6 hours? But I guess these are professional, funny people. They know how to not laugh.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because it's funny. Well, I don't know if
6
go
episodes,
back.
maybe not 6 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, 6 episodes, but they're only like half-hour episodes.
Yeah,
it's not like hour or anything like that. So each episode's like an hour's worth of stuff cut down to half an hour, I guess. And I mean, if they do like, and you also got to wonder, like, some of these like the bits they're doing on the stage there, like how much of that's maybe went for 15, 20 minutes, or 15 minutes and they cut it down to a 5-minute part on the actual show. I don't know, like magic editing.
Yep. All right. Let's move into the mandatory Netflix segment of the show. And we've both watched a new documentary that released on Netflix, The Truth and Tragedy of Moira Wilson. So it follows the story of Moira Wilson, who was murdered in her friend's apartment in Austin when she was visiting her. Moira Austin, a rising cyclist, I guess is the best way to describe it, who at 25, is found murdered in her friend's apartment or house, and kind of follows the investigation and the news story around one of the culprits going on a run, and that kind of stuff. I thought it was a solid documentary. I mean, I assume there must have been a certain amount of public interest to justify, because it definitely seems like there were film crews there at the trial that was filming the family through the trial. So clearly this has been prominent enough to warrant the interest to get the people there to have them interview, kind of following them during the trial, interviewing them as that was taking place. But yeah, I mean, they did a solid job of it's a solid tribute to this young woman's life that was tragically cut short. But yeah, I thought it was a solid documentary. Dylan, what do you think?
What's it called again? Which one?
Murder. What did I have? Where did I put?
That's right. I was trying to think of her name. What do they call him? Mo. Yeah,
Mo.
Mo. Right. Yeah, Mo. Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, it's when it started, because I didn't know anything about it. When it and I just clicked play, I wasn't actually sure when everyone was talking at the start, and because it was called the tragedy or whatever, and just click play, and there's talking about oh, she knew death was coming from. Oh, maybe she got sick, and then as the intro continued, and then suddenly there's they show the scene where the cops come into the place and there's gunshot shells and something no, murder, right? But yeah, so it's super sad because it does a really good job at building up her and showing how talented she was and how she was such a big figure in the cycling scene and potentially, prospects and all these other things. And the way it plays out is just, the worst of humanity, I guess, sort of scenario. Some wild shit happens in the end too with the person who did it. I was like, what is going on here?
I feel like that's the reason this was made, because that is a wild story about what happened post.
Several wild things. It's not even they do one wild thing. That's trying to not spoil it, which is always weird when you're talking about true story
real life
murders
events
and stuff. But it's they do when they first find them, and it's they reveal they've done one wild thing and then they do another thing after, and then
but yeah, interesting film. So check that one out. All right, that's everything in our Watch History. Let's move on. Reasonably quiet week, but Dylan, every week there's always casting news and new films being announced. We like to cover these in a segment called Would You Want to Invest, which I'd give Dylan a bunch of details about different film and TV projects that are in the works. He tells me if he would fully invest, partially invest, or not invest, and history will be the judge if he's right or wrong. Dylan, are you ready for this latest installment of Would You Want to Invest?
always ready.
That's what you always say. All right, kicking things off. Tom Hanks and Marielle Heller are feeling the 7-year itch following their Oscar-nominated 2019 collaboration, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. The director and star are plotting a reunion for a poignant baseball dramedy feature that's already attracted multiple studio bidders. Hanks will star in an adaptation of the short story The Comebacker, with Heller to direct. Both Hanks and Heller will produce the film through their respective production labels. The source material is from Pulitzer Prize finalists Dave Eggers, whose works A Hologram for the King and The Circle both inspired films starring Hanks. Rap Supernova, Bad Bunny, and Oscar nominee Coleman Domingo are eyeing roles in the project, voice sources said. While acquisition talks are active at studios across town, sources said Sony Pictures is in pole position to win the film thanks to an attractive offer. Of course, history as Sony released A Beautiful Day. The Comebacker is the first in a series of shorts by Eggers for a story collection titled The Forgetters. It follows a fading sports journalist named Lionel, whose passion for his craft and his life is awakened by a pitcher called up from the minor leagues. The title referred to an injury the pitcher suffered when a batter sent a ball back with brute force into the pitcher's skull. After the injury, the pitcher exhibited unexpected behavior, including poetic speech. The base stories written by Hanks journalists resonate with readers across the country. The short story centers on the San Francisco Giants, but one source said the screenplay may revolve around the New York Mets.
No invest. Doesn't sound at all interesting to me.
Why do you hate baseball?
I presume it's probably a bad not invest because it'll probably do well considering baseball and the people involved and everything. But all of that sounded boring as fuck.
Okay. I will say I had never heard of A Hologram for the King, but yes, that is a Tom Hanks film released in like 2016 that apparently just didn't obviously get any recognition. All right, next one. After working on the project for more than 3 years, Pete Davidson is taking on a dream job to play notorious mafia killer Tommy Patera, who was known as Tommy Karate. Production is due to begin in June on crime thriller Tommy Karate, which is inspired by a true story and based on the non-fiction true crime book The Butcher, Anatomy of a Mafia Psychopath by Philip Carlo. The film will chart the pursuit and the capture of one of America's most ruthless mobsters and serial killers by notorious DEA agent Jim Hunt, played by Paul Walter Hauser. Camila Mendes and Simon Rex also star, with Justin Chon directing.
Partial invest? Although I don't really like that casting, but to be honest,
I don't know. This guy might be a dead ringer for Pete Davidson.
maybe. Partial invest because of the
Here's more
story.
information about it. Patera was an American mobster in the Bonanno crime family of New York City, initially a soldier and then a captain of his own crew. Patera was suspected by law enforcement of as many as 60 murders. He was known for his use of karate and other martial arts when fighting, a skill he learned at a young age, and which earned him the nickname Tommy Karate and the Karate Guy. He is currently serving a life sentence at USP Big Sandy in Inez, Kentucky, after going down in a 1992 for murder and operating a massive drug operation.
Do I know that? Let me look. Do I know this guy? I know that crime family. Yeah,
Certainly
I
so
feel
many
like I
crime
recognize
families.
him. I feel like I recognize his face. One of the documentaries I've watched.
Yeah.
I don't recall anything about karate.
I mean, of course, that's the thing Davidson would focus on from a Penny standpoint. All right. Rob Lowe is the latest to fall in love with the Stephen Merchant directed and starring. Dang, this is a weird sentence.
Yeah, that's a very weird sentence you're starting off with.
Rob Lowe is the latest to fall in love with the Stephen Merchant directed and starring and Cameron Diaz headlining romantic comedy at Amazon MGM Studios. The West Wing Primetime Emmy nominee joins a booming lineup that includes Jake Lacey, Josh Segarra, Sherry Cola, Judith Light, Mara Lasita, Taylor, Fabrizio Guido, Lisa Gilroy, and Dustin Ybarra. Merchant co-wrote the script with John Butler, which follows a workaholic Brit who is employed at an upscale New York hotel. He needs a wife for his appearances. In comes a struggling stand-up comedian who is desperate for health insurance. Their fake marriage starts as a transaction, but ends in an unexpected romance.
That was a bunch of gibberish to me. I'm going to go nothing. No invest because of terrible synopsis pitch.
It's
and
a
wording.
fake marriage, Dylan, for appearances.
Just something about that's the start. Again, whoever's the latest to fall in love with Stephen Merchant starring whatever he said.
So it's a film directed and starring Stephen Merchant. It's also headlined by Cameron Diaz. And Rob Lowe said.
Yeah, and Rob Lowe's. Yeah, no.
Deadline, you really screwed the pooch on this one.
Yeah, no, fuck, I'm out.
Okay. Scott Kid Cudi Muschietti is in production in Los Angeles on Doe, his feature directorial debut, where he plays the title role, starring alongside Mark Webber, Liam McNamara, Brandon Scott, and Daniel Pereira. Written by Muschietti, Doe explores themes of addiction and survival through the lens of a man living on the streets of Hollywood, who over the course of 24 hours drifts through a series of encounters that pull him in and out of the cycles of his compulsion. The film will feature original songs by Kid Cudi, who executive produces alongside Karina Manischel under the Mad Solo banner.
I'm going to go partial invest, and my One hope is that Kid Cudi's music is better than his last couple albums.
Nick Jonas and Catherine Newton are set to star in MRC's holiday horror flick, White Elephant, the first project under their partnership with Radio Silence and Project X, dubbed RSPX, oriented around inventive and engaging horror and thriller projects. Directed by a clown in a cornfield's Eli Craig, White Elephant's logline is as follows: 8 friends, 1 prize, 0 trust. Their annual festive holiday gift exchange spirals into a cutthroat game of Christmas carnage.
Sure, full invest. Sounds up my alley, obviously. I enjoy Clown in the Cornfield. I don't think it's as good as the source material, but I still enjoyed it, so sure. Full invest. Holiday Christmas movie. I'm always down for more.
Yes, a holiday Christmas movie? Yeah, of course it's got a holiday Christmas movie.
I'm always down for more of this.
I think what you're looking for is
because it means we have to watch
horror
it
Christmas movie.
Yeah, horror Christmas movie. That's what I mean. Sorry, my bad. It means it's added to the list for Very Explosion Network Christmas.
I know you mentioned another podcast that we do. All right, next one. Oscar-winning Korean writer-director Bong Joon-ho has revealed that his hotly awaited debut animated feature film will be titled Ali, at the same time as unveiling a first image for the titular protagonist. Created from a screenplay written by Bong with Jason Yu, the film revolves around Ali, a curious piglet squid living in the depths of the South Pacific Ocean with dreams of one day seeing the sun and becoming the star of a wildlife documentary. When a mysterious aircraft sinks into the ocean, Ali's peaceful world is thrown into danger. She is thrust into an extraordinary journey that will take her all the way to the surface, accompanied by her loyal, colorful, and unlikely companions. Inspired by real-life marine creatures, the film explores themes of friendship and courage as encounters between humans and the creatures of the deep reshape both worlds.
Wild pitch. Fully invest, obviously, for the director, but that's such a wild pitch. But also sounds exactly like something he would do. So
it does, but how does this squid know about wildlife documentaries?
Watched it for a window. Finding Nemo style, some shit.
How? It's in the middle of the ocean.
Oh,
it's a
went
bunch
for a
of
swim to
one answer.
Went to the bay somewhere. I don't know.
All right. Another high-profile package has been won by Netflix in a competitive situation. The streamer has landed The Corrections, based on Jonathan Franzen's best-selling 2001 novel, with 3-time Oscar winner Meryl Streep attached to star. Franzen is adapting his book, and Oscar winner Cord Jefferson from American Fiction is directing all episodes of the limited drama from Paramount Television Studios, which has received a straight-to-series order. Based on Franzen's National Book Award winning novel, The Corrections is a sharply comic portrait of a Western family whose 3 unmoored adult siblings desperately resist their mother's wish for one last Christmas together, each undone by the delusional ambitions that were supposed to save them from becoming their parents.
That wasn't particularly partial invest. That wasn't
okay. Yeah, interesting. I think more interesting is reading from this. This isn't the first time that they've tried to make this. Where is it? So back in 2012, HBO ordered a pilot for The Corrections from Noah Baumbach, Franzen, and Scott Rudin, who was developing the book adaptation for a decade, originally as a feature. The pilot, which featured an all-star cast of Chris Cooper, Diane Wiest, Ewan McGregor, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Rhys Ifans, and Greta Gerwig, did not go forward, obviously. But yeah, interesting. All right. Come on, Cream. All right. Daryl McCormick has landed a key role alongside Dakota Fanning. And Stellan Skarsgård in Apple TV's untitled thriller series from Emmy Award-winning creator Alex Carey. In the new series from Sony Pictures Television, Fanning plays an undercover treasury agent in a multi-billion-dollar international conglomerate with world-changing political and criminal tentacles, who becomes conflicted between her mission and the belief that her principal target, the heir apparent to all that corrupt power, is at his core a good man and worthy of her love.
Full invest. That sounds good. That sounds interesting. I like the cast. Also, it's just funny how it's like Dakota's now working with a different Skarsgård. Her sister worked with the father Skarsgård.
But it's the same Skarsgård.
No.
Stellan. Yeah, it was Stellan.
Oh, you said so. Oh, I thought you said Alexander. Is it Stellan?
No, Alex Carey.
Oh, sorry, I blended names. Okay, so he's literally just working with another Fanning sister. That's funny.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And they're working on a movie together.
What, the Skarsgårds?
No, the sisters
The
for the
Fannings?
first time. Yeah.
Surely they've done a film before, right?
No, they haven't worked together.
Not since I think they did one with the little kids, but I don't know.
Maybe, but yeah.
All right. 42.6 Years, the romantic comedy with genre elements starring Andy Samberg, that was announced back in 2023, has moved from Amazon MGM Studios to Focus Features for distribution. While Samberg was originally set to star opposite Gene Smart, the Emmy and Golden Globe winning star of HBO Hacks, he now has a new romantic counterpart in 5-time Oscar nominee Annette Bening. Also new to the project is Michael Schwartz, the director of the acclaimed indies The Peanut Butter Falcon and Los Fricas, who takes over the reins from Craig Gillespie. Written by Seth Rice, based on a story by Rice and Samberg, 42.6 Years follows Ben, who, after an experimental procedure leaves him chronologically frozen for 42.6 years, sets out to reconnect with his ex-girlfriend, Ruthie. While he hasn't aged a day, she's lived an entire lifetime without him.
For some reason I just started thinking about Austin Powers.
Yeah.
That's where my mind went. Yeah, fully invest.
Very
I quite like the director. Is bringing the indie directing style to those sorts of stories, I think, can make them better than when they're done in the hands of more Hollywood director styles.
All right. Dylan O'Brien and Hudson Williams have signed on to star in Apparatus, a darkly comedic thriller marking the feature directorial debut of Canadian actress Sophia Banshaf. Written by Banshaf and Grayson Moore, Apparatus follows struggling young rideshare driver Tyler as he falls under the influence of a self-styled entrepreneur, JP, who offers him a future in his handheld massager business. But what appears to be a dream opportunity unravels as JP pulls Tyler into a violent downward spiral.
Sounds like a better version of that condom. Whatever that was called.
Really?
When we watched the trailer for
Balls Up?
Balls Up.
Where they go to they've escaped from Brazil? I don't know how you've pulled the correlation between these two things.
I don't know, just a random product that probably doesn't need to be the star of a movie. I don't know. Recent thing in mind. I don't know. What do you mean handheld massager? Like, there's so many handheld massagers already. What are you doing that's different, you know? Like, that's my...
He's just making a thing that's already a thing. That's fine. It'd be like it's a furniture business.
I guess, but like furniture is furniture. You can build it different. You know, at the end of the day, handheld massager, like once
You got
someone
like
locks
60
in...
places making microwaves, you know?
Yeah, but they do them slightly different designs and stuff. People want them to look...
Well, maybe this has a slightly different... This massager has a slightly
People
different
don't care what
design.
it looks like. They just want it to feel good, right? And once someone locks in that, they're like, I don't give a shit.
Maybe it feels good. Did you make a decision?
Partial of this. Sure.
Wow. Okay. Apple has greenlighted Liminal, a sci-fi action thriller from director Louis Leterrier that will star Academy Award nominee Vanessa Kirby and Emmy winner Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. Liminal is based on the graphic novel Telepaths by Eisner Award winner J. Michael Straczynski, Steve Epting, and Brian Reber. While the plot of the feature take is being kept under wraps, the source material takes place in a world where a tenth of the population suddenly gains telepathic powers, a result of electromagnetic disturbance. Subsequently, new telepathic Boston police find themselves contending with a faction led by a wrongly convicted prisoner who are trying to escape a world in which their powers will make them a target.
I think I read a couple issues of that. Not like maybe like not enough to remember much about it, but I feel like I read like the first couple or something. 99-cent buy at one point, I think. Full invest, sure. Interesting concept. Good time.
An Animorphs TV series is in early development in Disney Plus for
Now, hold on. Before you continue, I just want to say something. Say this now, and then we can talk about this seriously. This was my one news story. There's always one every year. This was the one news story this year that when I saw it, because of the date and everything, and it being, I think, April 2nd or something when it fell, I had to go check it wasn't a troll. This was that news story. There's usually something every year that makes me go, That's an April Fool's joke, right? No, we're legit. Okay,
Came
my
out
bad.
April 3rd. The new story.
Yeah, but I was just
It's too close.
just because it's too close, I wasn't feeling like it. It was that weird of a news story that I was like, we're too close to April 1st for me to feel comfortable about this. Anyway, continue.
Yes, Animorph TV series in development. Bayan Wolcott is attached to write and executive produce the adaptation, with Ryan Coogler, Sev Ahayan, and ZZ Coogler executive producing on behalf of Proximity Media. The official logline states that the show follows a group of teenagers who uncover a hidden threat lurking beneath their everyday lives, all while juggling relationships, curfews, and the chaos of high school. The book series, which was created by Catherine Applegate and her husband Michael Grant, followed a group of teenagers who discover the Earth is being secretly taken over by a parasitic alien race known as Yerks. The group meet a dying alien of the Andalite race, which have been fighting the Yerks in their expansion across the galaxy. The Andalite gives them the ability to morph into any animal they touch by absorbing the animal's DNA. They use this power to launch a secret resistance against the Yerks and to save the world. They are later joined by Axe, a young Andalite stranger on Earth.
Wild. It's just the fact it's Ryan Coogler, I think, is the part that really caught me off
I don't
guard,
know
you
how involved he is. It's just like his executive producing.
It's executive producing, but it's still like usually when you're
His
executive
name's
producing a show, you're quite heavily involved, at least for like the pilot
can
or
be.
something, you know,
in
like,
the development of the series, yeah.
in the development series, and then go hands off afterwards, sort of thing. But look, yeah, obviously I'm of the age where I watched all of Animorphs growing up. Really enjoyed the show. Used to take the books from the school library, rent them out of there and stuff. So I'm all about this, just from a nostalgic point of view, but also because I generally feel like you could turn this into a quite interesting modern day story. And I mean, I'm thinking if Ryan Coogler's involved, you can play around with a lot of the elements to make them more relevant for today's world and audience, and that could be quite interesting. So yeah, but when I was like, man, what a series. That the first thing I ever saw Shawn Ashmore in,
Yeah. First thing I saw Aaron Ashmore.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so what are we ready?
Oh, sorry, full
how the
invest.
segment works. Full invest?
Sorry, full invest.
Yeah, I think I also was heavily invested in Animorphs. I had a ton of the books that I read. Interestingly, dropped off really close to the end. So I don't know actually how the series ends. I think I dropped off, there's 54 books or something. I think I dropped off at 49, which is wild. Maybe a Wikipedia search to see how that concluded. But yeah, I feel like we've discussed this before, because whether it's been another team that was trying to make this work, but I feel like, I don't know how I feel about them trying to do live action again. This was something that I was like, this would make a cool animated show, because there's two major issues. The transformation into animals all the time is going to be expensive to do in live action, especially when, what are you going to get trained animals to do all the crazy shit that they want them to do? Probably not. It's all going to be CGI. So you might as well just go fully animated if you're doing the series. But I also feel like this is a series that is very much of its time and has not, you would have to change it drastically if you were to bringing it to the current day, which is probably what they will do. Because this series was set in a time without mobile phones and camera phones all over the place.
Yeah. Which makes it harder to deal with the...
Nowadays, there would be a ton of footage of crazy animals running through places and attacking people.
Also,
surely
there
would be video of slugs coming out of people's ears.
Yeah. I also never finished reading them right to the end. I just looked up the ending. Wild shit. Way darker than I would have assumed, to be honest.
All right. Looking forward to reading about that tonight. So
let's start a new podcast where we read all of the Animorphs books.
I'll tell you, I've been to bookstores where there's
look forward to Morphin Time. Coming soon. Sorry, is that related to something else?
I think that's related to something else. It might have to be Animorphin Time.
Oh, Animorphin Time, right. So,
I have seen the books re-released in bookstores, with new covers and that kind of stuff. So.
Hell yeah. Earworms and Explosion Network podcast coming soon.
Let us know if you want to see that. I'll save that one for last. 3-time Oscar winner Oliver Stone is underway on a new movie, White Lies, which marks his first narrative to feature in a decade. Josh Hartnett stars in the movie, which Deadline can confirm and reveal more details about. The Platoon, born on 4th of July and JFK director, has written and will direct the original feature, which is described as a departure from his previous work, being an intimate piece that explores family, loss, and pain, and how love can change shape in the course of lifetimes. In a story told across 3 generations, the pick follows Jack Freeman, a child of divorce, now repeating his parents' mistakes in his own marriage and with his own children. Feeling trapped, he embarks on a lust-filled journey to free himself, only to find himself more lost than before. When he meets a woman whose life is opposite to his own, he begins an unexpected journey of rediscovery.
Pretty, I don't know, sort of generic sounding, but Oliver Stone, so full invest.
Oh, I'm trying to think, what was the last movie by Oliver Stone?
I just don't even know off the top of my head. What was the Oliver Stone's
That's
last
interesting.
movie?
Apparently, it is Snowden,
Yeah, that makes sense.
which
actually,
is, I didn't even
2011
realize that movie
some
was
shit.
directed by Oliver Stone.
Yeah. It's like, does he have a year there?
Well, I assume it's a decade, so like 2016. Let's have a look.
Not a good
Snowden,
movie.
2016. Yeah.
I did not think it was a good movie.
Yeah. This interesting director, definitely has slowed down in his older age, but good for him coming back. All right, last one for this week. Oh, did you give a rating?
Yeah, I said full invest because it's all Oliver Stone.
Line and Warner Brothers project currently working title is Gladys. Weapons gross over $270 million. Amy Madigan, who portrayed main antagonist Gladys, won an Academy Award for Best Actress in a Supporting Role. Also taking home a SAG Award for the mysterious. Also won a SAG Award for her role as the mysterious relative of Alex. That's it.
Yeah, fully invest, obviously. I mean, I would have fully invested no matter what, but I'm just really intrigued more because they were talking about this prior to all the award season stuff. Doing that, Zach said he would be working on a prequel movie, and everyone assumed it would obviously be about Gladys or something at least close to her storyline after his Resident Evil movie. So now that we know it's that Gladys prequel movie officially, it's sort of more exciting because they're just going to run with the fact this movie already Weapons made so much money, and then all the award season buzz for the character and everything. Like this movie is just set up for success, I think.
I guess how much for prequel? How far back are they going? Are they getting
I don't know.
Amy Madigan back?
No. Well, I mean, that's the other thing, right? As soon as you have someone who plays a character and wins Academy Award for it, now you gotta potentially cast someone to play a younger version of that character. That's some
It's like
tougher
a
casting.
fucking Furiosa situation,
Yeah, this is why
I
they
guess.
give that. That's why they're handing out Academy Awards for casting directors now, because good luck to that person.
Maybe she just looks that same way all her life.
I don't think so. I don't think that's how witchcraft works. Do you see him talking about his Resident Evil movie, by the way, this week?
Yeah, he described it as a 90-minute horror Fury Road, and also said that he would be crucified if he didn't stick to the lore of the video games.
Yeah, I'm very keen to see his movie because by all accounts he got told he got a little bit of free reign from what everyone said, which isn't that shocking because the Resident Evil franchise has already obviously been given a lot of do whatever you want. But after that
They
last attempt to reboot,
Paul W.S. Anderson do whatever he wanted.
Yeah, do whatever he wants. But then they attempted to reboot it already once with that one movie, Welcome to Raccoon City, which didn't go well, obviously. So I was wondering if the next person they attempted to do, they would like try and be like basically puppet direct and something. But no, apparently he's still just doing his style, which is quite exciting. So
If you get a big enough director to your property, I think you just let them, or like with a solid enough track record. So what this would be his third film, right?
this is his third film, yeah.
All right. We'll have to wait and see how Dylan's instincts turn out. But let's talk about some films that are a little bit closer in Thumbs for Trailers. Of course, you can find all the trailers we'll have to talk about in the show notes below. Kicking things off, we've got the trailer for Euphoria Season 3, created by Stan Levinson, starring Zendaya, Maud Apatow, Alexa Demi, Jacob Elordi, Hunter Schafer, Sydney Sweeney, and Common Domingo. 5 years have passed for the former students of East Highland High, and life for them has underwent significant yet unexpected changes. Dylan, what do you think of the trailer for the latest season of Euphoria?
Yeah, double thumbs up. I'm very keen. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the show. Talk it up every year that it airs, and
Is anything?
as anything, yeah, including those couple specials that were put out. consistently makes my top 10 lists and stuff like that. So obviously I'm very keen and hope it'll be good. It's almost like a brand new show, which I don't think is a bad thing either, because there was that element of when you take so long to make it, it's like, what, we're still in high school? These are actors who are like aging up now. Like, we're still pretending they're high school kids. So I don't mind let's just do a fucking 5-year time jump and sort of refresh the show, even if this potentially is the last season, which we still don't know. I don't know if it is the last one.
It's confirmed. I don't.
It's confirmed. No, they haven't confirmed it's the last one, but a lot of people are presuming it'll be the last one simply because most of the actors in it now are so much bigger than when they started.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like the only way you would imagine they'd be able to do another season is if they redo the cast.
Yeah, they'd have to redo it because once you get because all these people now are so huge. Well, primarily, obviously, Zendaya, Sydney Sweeney, and Jacob Elordi, like trying to schedule their filming with a bunch of big stars, it just gets so much harder and harder. So hopefully it's the last season. I wouldn't mind things just wrapped up. The most interesting element to me is weirdly not the Rue stuff, although obviously she's the main character. We're still continuing because the last season ended with her basically done a dodgy drug deal, and then her mum like flushes all the drugs down the toilet because she thinks that she's using them even though she was going to sell them. So now we're in this weird scenario where looks like she's just trying to pay that back or something. I don't know. We'll find out. I'm keen to see more Alexa Demi's character, who is seemingly coming on to be the manager of Sydney Sweeney's character as the OnlyFans model, even though Jacob Elordi's character is her ex, and they were the ones dating, and Sydney Sweeney's character was like sort of always like chasing him. There's lots of weird elements for that's in
Looks
this.
like they're getting married in Australia.
Well, they are. Yeah, they get married, but she's like an OnlyFans model now, and he's doing that. I know what's happening with Coleman Domingo's character. He looks like he's dying at one stage. I don't know what's going on there. Hunter Schafer, I'm keen to see what's happening with her character. She seems to be doing some sex work potentially as well. I don't know. Like, they're all obviously aged up. The most disappointing thing is that just the Maud Apatow storyline sort of looks like she's doing something in Hollywood. Like, they have that scene where she's talking to like someone in Warner Brothers and stuff that's happening in the background. But after the death of Angus Cloud, she doesn't, which was one of my favorite storylines in the second season. Those two were building this like really interesting, because they're just so opposite characters and personalities, but they were building this really interesting and generally quite heartfelt romance between those two characters. But because of Angus Cloud's passing, obviously they've had to scrap that and stuff. So yeah, lots of interesting. I mean, you also see in the trailer that Eric Dane's in it, obviously, as he plays Jacob Elordi's character's dad, but he's obviously also passed, so that there's an element of there's someone else who, wonder how much he's in it, because he would have been sick while filming this, now that we know what's happened to him. Yeah, but still double thumbs up. Very keen, obviously.
Yeah, 2 thumbs up. I think it's a really good trailer. It feels like a very cinematic trailer. And I mean the showing the names of the casts, is usually just a run of the mill thing, but like the number of people who are like Emmy nominated, Oscar nominated, Emmy nominated of this cast that was widely, generally unknown back in 2019 when the show debuted, I think is a testament to the casting of the show and how they've been able to manage their careers outside of it. So yeah, I'm excited for all you Euphoria people to get your latest fix of Euphoria, which is it looks way different.
Teenager stories. Yeah, it looks very, very different. So I think I saw someone in the YouTube comments be like, season 1, high school, season 2, play, because a lot of it revolved around and built up to this big play at the end of it. Season 3, Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah. So Euphoria season 3 debuts on HBO Max the 13th of April. Next trailer is for Swapped, directed by Nathan Guarino, starring Michael B. Jordan, Juno Temple, Tracy Morgan, Cedric the Entertainer, and Justina Mercado. A small woodland mammal and a majestic bird, 2 spawn enemies of the valley, accidentally magically trade places and set off an adventure of a lifetime while bonding together and helping the woodland animals. Dylan, what did you think of the trailer for Swapped?
I didn't like it. I thought the animation looked weird. I didn't love the just wasn't a lot going on. I didn't think any of the jokes or I don't know. I just generally the vibe, everything looked off to me. I wasn't getting much from it, so I'm going to double thumbs down.
Harsh. I'll go one up, one down. I think it's a interesting enough concept in like the idea of a bird getting trapped in the body of a mouse and a mouse being trapped in the body of a bird and like trying to adapt to that is quite interesting. The thing that's intriguing me the most is like a lot of the animal designs and like especially the wolves with huge antlers and setting themselves on fire and shit. I think that all is quite interesting because obviously it's clearly not the animal world that we know that exists and that kind of stuff. And Tracy Morgan's fish looks quite amusing. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. This one's been in the works for a while, I believe. Was meant to be an Apple TV thing, and now a Netflix thing because of Skydance Animation making a new deal or whatever. So it's been a long time coming. So this one is coming to Netflix on the 1st of May. Next trailer is for Back Rooms, directed by Kane Parsons, starring Chiwetel Ejiofor, Renata Reinsve, Mark Duplass, Biffin Bennett, and Lakita Maxwell. A therapist ventures into a otherworldly dimension in search of her missing patient. Dylan, are you familiar with Back Rooms, and what do you think of this trailer?
I'm familiar with it. I believe I've watched some of it, but not all of it. Kind of want to go back and watch the whole thing.
To be
on
clear,
YouTube now.
Back Rooms is like they call it a creepypasta, I think.
Creepypasta, and then this director did like a YouTube
A
series.
series of YouTube short episodes or whatever.
For people who don't know what
This is based
creepypastas
on.
are, it's like Slender Man and shit
Online
like that.
or I guess.
Yeah, people just create. But sometimes people would literally just do a drawing or like it's just a bunch of people just being like, man, imagine if this, and then the character like, and then people like write like it's just people.
It's a crowd-funded horror idea.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just people being creative with horror ideas and stuff. Like it's nothing.
And then someone comes along and steals it and makes a movie.
Yes, but also some of the creepypastas like the Slender Man stuff have led to terrible things, including kids getting murdered because they believed in the creepypastas. So there is a whole bunch of elements to it. Nonetheless, I'm going double thumbs up. It looks great. I love the cinematography. I love the way it's projected. I love the cast. I think I'm most interested to see Renee Reinsve in this. This will be her big, I guess, more American movie break, like probably for a lot of audiences, like not less international crowd and stuff. So, but yeah, generally the cast was very good, and yeah, knowing what I know about the creepypasta and the law, it's an interesting dive. So, I'm honestly very tempted to just go back and maybe tonight lay in bed, just start watching some of the stuff. I remember I did spend one night where I think a couple of years ago I did like all the Slender Man ones and shit.
Yeah, I'll give it 2 thumbs up. It's definitely a interesting trailer and an interesting concept. I think that is depicted, like the visuals of it is quite interesting. This room that is beyond time and space, I guess, that they come across and is like a bunch of adjoining rooms that don't make sense being there. They seem to lead on forever. Looks really interesting. Like the idea that Chiwetel Ejiofor gets a bunch of people together so they can like film inside and try and understand what this room is, and then I guess they get lost, and Renata Reinsve has to track them down.
Looks like they're combining elements of like found footage stuff with real stuff as well throughout the film. It looks like.
So yeah, definitely got the creepy vibe to it. So succeeding there. Back Rooms is coming to cinemas on the 28th of May. Loving these A24 films with confirmed Australian release dates. Crazy what happens when you release it here at the same time as everywhere else. I Love Boosters is the next trailer, directed by Boots Riley, starring Kiki Palmer, Naomi Ackie, Taylor Page, Poppy Liu, Isaac Gonzalez, Lakeith Stanfield, Will Poulter, Don Cheadle, and Demi Moore. A group of shoplifters take aim at a cutthroat fashion maven. So what do you think of the trailer for the latest film from Boots Riley?
Love that Double Thumbs are out. Double Thumbs up. What a cast. What a tone. What a time to be alive. You know. I think the second it started, I'm like, is that Demi Moore? That's fun. Then you get introduced to all the girls. I'm like, oh, that's a fun cast. And you see Lakeith Stanfield is back for this adventure with Boots, and he's having fun. I'm like, I don't know. Everyone's what a wild time. Also, the production design paired with the costume design and stuff. There's just a lot of colors and stuff, and obviously that sort of fits the film's motif of the fashion industry and stuff like that. But visually, it's just very interesting. So, double thumbs up. Yes.
Yeah, 2 thumbs up. I think it's just a really interesting color palette they're going for. I don't know. It's pretty basic story wise. You know, this fashion designer has wronged somebody and they're getting revenge. But visually, it looks really interesting. I'm sure there'll be a bunch of thematic stuff in there as well. Will Poulter was the one who stood out to me because of I don't know, just a odd hairstyle and that kind of stuff that he's got, and him being upset that the room is no longer that yellow, even though the floor, ceiling, and walls are all painted yellow. How can it get more yellow? Yeah, looks like a really fantastic cast that Boots Riley's assembled. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to this. Crazy that this is the first film he's made. Well, first film he's made since Sorry to Bother You. He did do that Iron Burgo show, but very keen to check this one out. I Love Boosters is coming to US cinemas on the 22nd of May. Currently no Australian release date. Final trailer for this week is the new trailer for Supergirl, directed by Craig Gillespie, starring Millie Alcock, Matthias Schoenaerts, Eve Ridley, David Krumholtz, Emily Beecham, and Jason Momoa. Zara Kara Zor-El celebrates her 23rd birthday by traveling across the galaxy with her dog Crypto. Along the way, she meets young Ruthie Mary Knoll and encounters a tragedy that leads her on a murderous quest for revenge. Dylan, what do you think of this latest trailer for Supergirl?
Very good. Finally know more about it and like what's the what are we doing? What's the adventure? So, you know, let's just all tie it back to girl and her dog, you know? The love of dog. Gotta protect that good boy, you know? Gotta save that good boy. So now that I know what the stakes are as high as they can get. So
had you not read the graphic novel?
No.
Did you not know? Okay.
I thought no. So I'm very keen. And then what else we get? We get obviously a bit more Lobo, which looks very fun. Obviously Jason Momoa just doing his Jason Momoa thing, but again, that's perfect sort of casting for
this is
Lobo.
the thing that he wanted to do all along.
Yeah, this is what he wanted to do, so that's a good time. And then I quite enjoyed the little bit we get to see of David Krumholtz, whatever, playing Zor-El in this. So
yeah, 2 thumbs up from me. I think it is a fantastic trailer. I think really well put together. Obviously, you know, easy, relatable stakes that everybody understands. The dog has been injured, and you have 3 days to track down the serum. Otherwise, the dog's dead. You know, that's a story anybody can get behind. I think Millie Alcock looks really fantastic, both in the suit and you know, doing the non-stuff suit stuff. Jason Momoa looks really good. The bad guy, I'm appreciating more now that we're seeing him a little bit more and understand why they've, I guess, made him more alien than he is in the comic and that kind of stuff. I think he will be a pretty good antagonist. And I really love the use of the song in this trailer. I think that's one of the things that kind of stood out. Like, it kind of weirdly it works they managed to make it fit thematically and also fit like as a trailer song, I think, for a song that is from I think is quite impressive. So yeah, it's interesting because I've seen some criticism that, well, I think this film has got unfair criticism because everybody's just calling it another James Gunn film because it is set in space, animal involved, and she's wearing a trench coat and she's got a Walkman on. You know, it's Guardians of the Galaxy again. Even though James Gunn is very hands off, he didn't write the script. He's not directing. You know, he's barely involved. I guess he's producing and like greenlit everything. But I think this film is getting unfairly treated by people who have kind of turned against James Gunn and his style. That is something that I've seen. I don't know if you have.
I have not, but it's not particularly surprising, I guess. The only thing I was wondering is I wonder if the movie will end and like set. I'm wondering how the direction it'll go, because this film's going to be this big space galaxy adventure, but then we don't set up and we don't really get to see in this movie the Kara civilian side of things. Whenever by the end of the movie, it'll try to.
Well, I think that's the point. She's not doing the Kara civilian thing. She doesn't want
Yeah,
to do Zara because
she doesn't want to. But I'm like, I wonder if they'll try and do
I
that.
assume that's what will end up as the film.
Will end up, or
Well,
they're
I
like,
guess-
nah, fuck it. We're just gonna keep her as a it out of
person.
Spacebound person.
Yeah. Does she end up back on Earth? Or is she going on adventures around space from now on? I think that's an interesting question to ask at the end of the film. So yeah. Supergirl is coming to cinemas on the 25th of June. And I lied before. I'm going to promote another podcast. Check out all new DC casters, which we'll be talking about Supergirl in the lead up to the film. All right, let's do this week's top 3.
Definitely in the top 3.
And with the new Jonah Hill directed film Outcome coming to Apple TV Plus this week's top 3 is top 3 Keanu Reeves films, which I feel will be very similar. Our top 3s.
I would assume so. Somewhat similar.
Yes. Dylan, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, because that is like, the problem is, you think when you look at Keanu Reeves' list, it's like, obviously, and spoilers for next to it, it's like the action things, right? And he's known as this action guy and whatever else now, but he's generally very funny in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and that's such a seminal part of his early career, and one of the first things I actually saw him in. Like early things I watched him in. It's just a lot of fun. And I think both those movies, the first two, well, I haven't watched them for like maybe 8-9 years or something, but whenever they did that other one. But they're still a lot of fun. I think, yeah, Excellent Adventure is still a really good time.
It's crazy to see him. Yeah. It's crazy to think of him doing that and then, the trajectory of his career where he turned into an action star.
Yeah.
My number 3 is Constantine, a movie that we have brought up in a few of these top 3s so far. I think, although it is a wild departure from the comics, I really enjoy this version of the character, this take on the character. I think, it's a lot of fun. Keanu Reeves is really great. And, it's so enjoyable. They are desperately trying to do a second version. So hopefully that comes to fruition one day. Dylan, what is your number 2?
My number 2 is just John Wick. I don't know which one I'm picking. If I've got to pick one, I think I'm just going to go 4. Recency bias.
I'm also going to go John Wick 4. Probably also recency bias, but I also feel like it has the best action sequences. It has probably the best character stuff. Like as John Wick as a character. It also has Johnny Yen, who's fantastic as well. So yeah. So that would be my pick of the John Wick films. But I mean, you could pick any of them because that is outside of our number 1. This would be the character he's known for.
Yeah, easily. So our number 1 is The Matrix.
Yes.
Yep. And again, it's sort of hard. You could just say The Matrix, I guess, all of them, because it's like
you could say all of them.
Story.
It would probably still. This one would actually be number 1, I guess.
Yeah, I'm going number 1 because it's generally just the best made movie. Also, because he gets to act a little bit more with a bit more range, because he's has all the scenes where he's coming to terms with the Matrix and everything. Obviously, in future, the other versions, it's like once it becomes cool Neo, he just gets to play cool Neo. But in this one, he gets to be
becomes Messiah Neo. Yeah,
Mr. Anderson as well as Neo.
Yeah. So yeah, pretty easy top 3 this week.
Yep.
All right, Dylan. This week, what do you want to watch?
I'm taking your advice from last week. I can pick stuff that goes into Monday. So I'm going to pick Euphoria Season 3, which starts on Monday. Or else I wouldn't get to pick it for anything. So that's fair call. So that's my TV pick. And then for coming to cinemas, it's not showing near me or else I'd watch it. But there's a movie coming to cinemas called Undertone, which is a horror thriller movie about this like podcast. Oh no, the trailer looks really interesting. It's like old point of view of this like podcaster listening to clips about a murder or something like that, and then freaky shit starts happening. It's only a couple of people, like I think you only ever see a couple of people on screen. Might hear other people, I think, when she's listening to stuff, but it's generally got good reviews, I think, from what I saw. So
all right. The TV thing that I'm excited to check out is The Boys, which will technically release the day this episode comes out. Is it? Yeah.
Wednesday.
So, yeah, that counts. Boys Season 5 debuts. So very keen to check that out. TV fronts, probably pretty light this week. It might be. That would be the other pick, I guess. Other thing I mentioned, the Malcolm Nettle series is dropping this week. So that's something to keep an eye on. But let us know what you want to watch this week by going to explosionnetwork.com/follow and let us know on all our social medias. If you want to help us out here at What Do You Want to Watch, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser. Leave us 5 stars, and you can leave 5 stars. We'll just tell people about the show. And if you want to help Explosion Network with all the podcasts that I plugged this week, head over to explosionnetwork.com/support. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.